Okay, so I find out that this is like the fourth schedule that they landed on. That they were first going to affect like the ESC department, but they decided against it because they met with them and they figured out what all that was going to entail. They were going to affect the history department, but they met with them and decided that wasn't going, so they had all these other options. But the thing is, they met with those departments and came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to be best practices. I'm just confused where my meeting was. Where my meeting, because had we had a meeting, I would have clearly stated I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I wasn't even offered the dignity of a meeting. They just said, "Oh, she's gonna do it." Who is she? I don't know who she is, but she is not. She is not me. So, anyways, and let me add this part too. They had, before this happened, maybe like a week, a few weeks, maybe a month, I'm not sure, had just assigned a new eighth grade lead, which I was clearly the best qualified, or the person who should have been assigned the lead, but they didn't. They gave it to someone else, which, hey, it's whatever. I'm used to being overlooked. Um, but why didn't you give the extra responsibility to the lead as well? So you made someone else the lead, but then you gave all the extra responsibility to me. That doesn't really seem like it goes together, right? But here we are again, where they're expecting Black women to carry the load for everyone else. They're expecting us to do all the heavy lifting. Um, no, it's a no. It's a no for me. So, I sat through the meeting, and after the meeting, my AP came and she's like, "Look, we can go through the schedule. We don't really have," I'm like, "You can really save your breath. I'm going to be leaving." I mean, they were shocked. She was shocked. The principal was shocked. Everybody was shocked. But I'm not even sure why they were shocked. I guess they just really thought they could do whatever. But it really was a truly unfair thing to do to someone. Um, and so, yes, I put in my 2 weeks. Now, I wasn't resigning from the whole district at that point. I was just leaving that school. Because in order to work at that school, I was driving an hour every day. Because, again, I wanted to be in that neighborhood because of the kids. And so I was passing so many schools. And so I had the option of doing an energy transfer, which would just basically bring me back to a school closer to my home. So at that point, I just put in my 2 weeks, and I was just going to, transfer to a school closer to my home. Now, I reached out to 4 different schools that are close to my home. Um, 3 of them were great. I'm not gonna even they were great responses. And the last school, actually, I was gonna start like the following week. She was great. It was going to be a smooth transition. It was going to be 7th and 8th grade, the same thing I was doing. It was going to be a good fit for me. But one of the schools that I had reached out to, when I went in to meet with her, the feeling that I got from her, she was a white lady. She was the principal. It was very Pinterest vibe, and like no depth. And I just kept wondering, why would you be at a school like this? Because it was a low scoring school, and I feel like at those schools we really need people that have a little bit of that know the kids. I don't know. She just didn't. She was out of place. She just didn't really seem to fit. Um, and just even how she was treated, because she treated me kind of like I'm just some person that just walked in off the street looking for a job. I'm like, honey, I'm more qualified than probably 80% of your teachers in this building. Like, um, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm an asset in any room that I walk in. Why are we? And I mean, I get you have to meet me in person, but you're acting like I don't. There's no begging needed. You should be happy I walked in your building. You should be showing me my classroom, asking me what color I'm painting the walls. I don't understand what we're doing. So, but it was the attitude I got from her, and then throughout the conversation, I realized she was a DeSantis um, supporter, and I was like, okay, so this is some underlying, underlining. I won't call it racist, but it felt racist. And also, but it didn't necessarily have to be racist. It also could have been, because women are often intimidated by other, beautiful women. And I mean, I know I look like this right now, but I clean up well. And I can be intimidating for other women because they have a thing. Women are very competitive. And if you're a pretty girl, it's automatically like, so I don't know if it was the woman thing or a racist thing, but it was something that was causing her to respond in a way to me, which I'm like, honey, if you care about the benefit of your school, we should be signing, like, what are we doing? But anyways, fast forward. So I completed my 2 weeks at the school, and it was so sad leaving my kids. Let me tell you, the worst part was leaving my kids, because I know that I was the best thing for them, but I also know that I had to do what was best for me, and it's like, at some point you do have to put yourself first. But gosh, leaving my kids was the worst part about that whole thing. But actually, it really led me to being active on social media, because I would post things so that they can see. And so everything is kind of connected. So anyways, leaving that school, and I was going to start at the next school. But what kept playing in my mind is how that principal treated me. And I couldn't get past. And I'm like, why do people like this have control over my destiny? Like, why am I putting my livelihood in the hands of someone so ignorant? And I need to take ownership of my own life. And although I did have the good option of going to that school, I just decided I'm done. I'm just gonna do something on my own, take ownership of my own life. And I'm just unplugging from the system. It was time to go. Yeah, it was just time. I'm not, yeah, it was just time. So I sent all the emails to all the appropriate people, and I just resigned. And even when I was trying to resign and had to call HR and go through all that, they were like, no, you can't resign. You have to wait. You're not eligible for 6 more years or something. I was like, lady, I don't know what you're talking about. But if I'm telling you I'm resigning, I'm resigning. So whatever you need to sign. And they were just shocked, like, you're gonna, yes, I am. I'm fine. It'll be fine. I need to do what's best for me. I know what your paperwork is telling you, but you need to hear what I'm telling you. So, they really want to control you. They really want to control you. And it was like, well, if you resign now, the amount of money you would get versus resigning later. So I'm like, well, what would be the difference? So if I resigned later, the 6 years or whatever she wanted me to wait, it would be $1,000 per month versus now it would be. So I'm like, first of all, $1,000 a month in 6 years, it's nothing now. So let alone 6 years. You want me to slave labor for another 6 years for $1,000? You can keep it. So no, it's a no for me. But so it was just really eye-opening. It really was. But honestly, it was the best thing. It was the best thing for me. I've learned so much about myself and about just life in general. Unplugging from just unplugging. I'm no longer a slave, and I'm just taking ownership of my own destiny at this point. So yeah, I think I covered it all. I'm trying to make sure I covered it all. It was a lot. It was pretty drastic, especially for someone like me, because I'm a creature of habit. I work at a place and I stay there. I don't like move around a lot, but this is what I needed to do at this point and at that time. And here we are in 2025. Yay! I'll have to tell you about that another time. Everything that's happened since, but that was the story of me retiring. Yeah, from the district. All right, carry on.